Hello heroes and villains, welcome to Multiverse. So we've got a first sneak peek at the next DLC, Day of Reckoning. So let us take a look. A comment I've seen a lot is, are we going to get another Gotham reused map? The answer is no. They made some sort of East European village, so that is going to be the new map we will have for this Universe Online. They also showed a new character that they made specifically for this DLC. From what I understand, it is a storyline they came up specifically for the DLC. It's not something they took from the comics. And that seems to be the direction they're taking, where they seem to be wanting to make their own storylines, to create their own characters, as opposed to using already existing storylines from the comics and already existing characters. I have mixed feelings about that. I don't want to talk too much about the devs in this video, but in a nutshell, they seem to want to create their own stuff, as opposed to using storylines and characters that already exist. It's not too big an issue, but there are hundreds of characters that people would like to see added to this Universe Online, so whenever they add a new character, instead of using a character that already exists, I cannot help but ask myself, is there an already existing character that it could have used instead? And usually the answer is yes. And the same could be said about storylines, but I don't want to make this video about the devs. I will make a video about the devs at a later date. But here we do get a first look at the storyline. So the open world will not be a Gotham open world. It's going to be basically an eastern village with a lot of snow. Something that people have been asking for a long time was to have some maps with snow. We're going to get a map with snow. As for the instance, people were very quick to point out that it kind of looks a bit like the desecrated cathedral. It does look a bit different, but they seem to have reused at least some of the desecrated cathedral in this DLC when creating the new map. So there we go, a first sneak peek at the next DLC, but more importantly, when will we get the DLC? They finally gave us the official date for when we'll get the DLC. We will get the DLC January 28th, 2025, so basically next Tuesday. We already suspected that when we got the information for the bonus week this week, but now it is confirmed. The next DLC will be January 28th, 2025. We already were teased that the next storyline will be called Light and Rain, but now it's pretty much confirmed, and the first chapter of this storyline will be Day of Reckoning. And we were told before that we would get 4 chapters in this storyline, so Day of Reckoning will be the first chapter in the Light and Rain storyline. Also, they confirmed that the blog we've been getting for some time, like the 3 blogs we got so far, were pretty much there to serve as transition between the DLC. In the previous DLC, we had some briefings that were telling us about the mysterious serial killer, and then we got that same storyline pretty much in the blog, in the first blog. But that was to lead us into the next DLC, which is Day of Reckoning. So the blog did start with our friend the Batman, because the Harley Quinn vs. Apocalypse episode was happening in Gotham, and in theory that is where sort of the serial killing was supposed to have started, although we only got that through the briefings. There was not really the serial killer in the Apocalypse Gotham map or in the DLC itself. It was just in the briefings that were teasing the serial killer. So they started the blog with our friend the Batman, because the Harley Quinn DLC was in an alternate version of Gotham, so Batman would be looking out for that evil serial killer. But then it pretty much transitions in the story to our friend Constantine and the Day of Reckoning DLC. So people were worried that the next DLC would be a Batman DLC. Don't worry, it seems that it's going to be either a John Constantine DLC or a Justice League Dark DLC. And if you wanted to have Batman in the next DLC, sorry, it seems that we're not going to get a DLC with our friend the Batman. Now, does that mean that seeing how the next storyline will be lasting for 4 DLCs, does that mean that the next 4 DLCs will be John Constantine DLCs? We don't know just yet. I guess it could be the next DLC would be about John Constantine, and then from DLC to DLC it switches to a different character within the storyline. We don't really know just yet. Sadly, there was a lot of talking by the devs, and not a lot of real information that was actually given. So sadly, we will have to wait until next Tuesday in order to be able to get more information once we do play the DLC. Although they seem to want to make the game more story focused than it was before, which is fine in itself. The problem with a game that is story focused is that the first time that you play the game, Yeah, you discover the story, and that is fine. But with a game like DCUO Online, you will replay that story over and over and over again because you will replay those missions over and over and over again to grind to be able to get the currency you need to purchase the gear, the rewards, and all that good stuff. So if you want to focus on the story, that is fine, but it's better be a really darn good story because people will go through that story 1,000 times replaying those missions. Which is why DCUO Online was pretty much focused on action, on combat, and they pretty much acknowledge in the video that DCUO Online is an action game, and they say they don't want to detract from that. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see if they do detract from the action or not with their story-focused DLC. So it's nice that they want to focus on story, but they still have to focus on action because when you replay the missions over and over again, you need some good action to keep you entertained, let us say. So there we go, guys. So this is what we know about the next DLC so far. As soon as we do get more information, I will let you guys know about it.